Hi, I haven't recorded anything in a while. Things have still been going on, so I think I'm going to call this Out of Body Experience 1 and then a second one. I've had multiple out of body experiences now between the Most High and I. The more time passes, the more intense my spiritual transitionings and the things that the Most High and the Son Yeshua allows me to see and the Holy Spirit allows me to see has progressed. And it's sometimes it's things that I never expected or that are beyond my understanding, but I received an understanding. I prayed to the Most High and asked for wisdom and understanding and patience and among other things. So I'm no longer showing my face for, specific reasons, but I'm going to see if I can put a thumbnail up. If I can, I'll just title the video. So of this first I'm going to discuss two out-of-body experiences. On this first out-of-body experience, this is what happened. I didn't feel that I was dreaming, but this is what happened. In the experience, I was at someone's house and I decided to go to sleep. In reality, I was at someone's house and I went to sleep. So, and I guess when the experience began, I was sleeping. So in the dream, I got up out of the bed. I went and got in my car and I started driving down the street. And I was in an area that's pretty rural, so there were different types of horses and things in that area in reality. And in this dream, the horses had gotten out of the gates and they were standing in the middle of the road. It was all different types of horses, white horses, brown horses, horses with spots, all different types of horses. And as I was approaching them when I was driving my car on the road, all the horses seemed to stop and stare at me. And they started walking toward my car. So I put on the brakes, thinking that the horses would stop. But they didn't. They kept walking toward my car. So I decided to put my car in reverse and back up and see if I can back away from the horses. And when I did put my car in reverse and back up, the horses started running at my car full speed. So I got the car in reverse. I'm going as fast as I can in reverse, trying not to hit anyone. And suddenly, I just stopped. I put on the brakes. And when I put on the brakes, the horses stopped as well. And they came to the car. They came even closer to the car. It's like they were looking at me. Or I could see them eye to eye, even though I was in the car. And I thought one of them was going to jump up and break the glass. You know how they put their hooves on the front glass to break it, to break the driver's window of a car. But they didn't. All of a sudden, when the horses gathered around the car, my body went in the shape of an 8, like the number 8, and I slipped between the crack of the door, where the door closes at the top of the car, like the driver door, above where the window rolls up. It's like I slipped between the door in the shape of a figure 8, and I was flat. And I got out of the car. I flew out of the car up into the air slowly. Then I drifted back down and went under the street. And when I was under the street, I could see it was so black. And there were it looked like black mountains with lava, red lava coming out of them, these major mountains and volcanoes. And I was like, what is this place? Is this hell? I was like, I know I couldn't be here. So when I thought I saw, and I thought that something told me almost that it was not hell. But anyway, I began to rise back through the street, or the asphalt of the street, and back up into the air. And I just started flying extremely fast, straight up into the air. So at this point, I knew I wasn't sleeping. I was out of the dream and I was out of my body. So I'm flying up through the stars. It's, it was dark. And suddenly there's this sphere. This is the first time this has ever happened to me. There was a sphere, and I wonder what it was, and then before I knew it, I was inside of the sphere. And when I was inside the sphere, there were control panels everywhere, and I realized I was in a spaceship. So again, it was shaped like a sphere, like a circle, like a ball, and there were like control panels and buttons and lights everywhere. And I looked all the way around the sphere, and I saw each one of the buttons, each one of the lights. It's as if it seemed like I was the only one in the ship. I didn't see anyone else. You know what I'm saying? And I looked at every single detail of the ship. So I started rising up in this. This was a huge sphere. I mean, it was huge. It took time for me to look at every single detail. And I remember thinking, someone must want me to see this. I'm supposed to see all of these things. So after I had looked at every single detail, every button, every light, every panel, I was like, it's like a chair went under me, and I was suddenly seated in this chair in the air in the middle of this spherical shaped spaceship. And suddenly there was a lever in front of me, like something that you would pull, like a long lever. I think it was two of them. And in any of my visions or out-of-body experiences, I usually don't ever touch anything. But for some reason, I knew that I needed to touch this lever. I went to touch it, and my hand went through the lever, but it still pulled the lever down. Once I pulled the lever down, the spaceship began to drop at incredible speed. And I realized it wasn't dropping. It was driving straight down toward Earth. I could see everything coming into focus, going into the Earth, the ocean, people, houses, buildings. There was one major building. And the spaceship was dropping so fast, but I wasn't afraid. A part of me was like, maybe I should get out of here. How do I get out of here? Then another part of me kept saying, or something kept telling me, you must see this. You have to see this through. You can't open your eyes. You can't come out of it. You have to see this through. And I did. And as the spaceship came closer and closer to Earth, it was like in no time, these missiles flew out of the spaceship and blew up this huge building on Earth. And I could see in slow motion all the damage that was done, all the fire, the explosion. I mean, there's bits and pieces going everywhere. And then I woke up. I got up and I came out of the experience. And the next day or two, I was watching TV, and at that time there were some fires going on in California on mountains. Like I watched the news and I saw the same mountains with all that lava or fire coming down them. There was some type of fires in LA or around LA at the time. But that was my first time ever seeing a spaceship, hearing about a spaceship. And I knew the Most High was the one who put me in that seat where I was driving the spaceship. I know the Most High is the one who allowed me to see all these things. So if any of you guys have any comments, feel free to let me know. All right. I have prayed about the experience. I feel, I'm not going to say what I feel at this time, but if anyone has any input or anything to say, I would, like to hear it, so you can put it in the comments below. All right, thank you.